Right, there we go, 371, a good start to get away. Jay Lawrence on the inside. On the Stephen Tracy, Brian Suzuki GSX 1100, and thanks to Stephen Tracy, nice to be behind him, and of course that's a beautiful bike of Stephen Tracy's, and Jay Lawrence, a very capable rocket to be on board with that bike, and as he proved from the Berry machine, a very capable, high-flying, high-profile rider, and all-round nice guy. It's neat to have Jay with us again, and people that can provide the bikes for him, because he's got so much to offer in our sport. I remember he was still a schoolboy when he was first starting to race, and even on a 600 he was still only just a working young man when he came onto the scene. He had a bit of a setback, but then, like so many, he's changed his life and done a whole lot of other things, and now it's nice to see, oh, look at that, for back into the corner. I thought he was going to be motarding then for a minute. He was back in that GSX into the corkscrew down there. Wicked to watch. It's a bit too dry for that today. Spidey might end up with a little bit of an over the handlebars, but look at that from Jay Lawrence. Remembering these conditions very different now to what we had earlier today. Look at the advantage he's got already.
Yeah, he's ridden this bike for a while. Steve Bryan, a man that's been around the sidecar world forever, built this bike for him, likes Jay Lawrence very much, and is paying dividends on the Cherson Auto Centre sponsored machine, number 371. He's, like I said, at the Barry Sheep Memorial meeting here at Labour Weekend. He was the man to watch backing it into the corner, particularly in the dry, and we've just seen a bit of that. And once he gets it, realises he's got a good solid lead, we'll see a bit of fireworks in terms of backing off. We've got a yellow flag out at the gull corner. As I say that, it's just been pulled in, so somebody out of the mix as well. Duncan Coots putting on a good solid showing on the Suzuki GSX-R 1100. Now, if you talk about classes for pre-89 post-classics, Jay Lawrence is actually on a bike that would qualify for the pre-82 class. So there was a whole generation's difference. They looked at the post-classic classes, classic classes over the years, said bikes changed around that time. So the GSX 1100, like Dave Hiscock and Robert Holden, Neville Hiscock, Bob Toomey rode, is the base for this bike. There was a substantial advantage gained over the next couple of years was the Suzuki GSX-R 750s, FZ 750 Yamahas, later on to FZR. Then they went up to World Superbike times. We had the RC30s coming out, the OWO1s and the FZR 1000s. And that is even a better showing for Jay Lawrence on a bike that's in a class one step behind of what this class is on the track. So there it is, Duncan Coots, not taking any away from him. There he goes, the man from Wrong Way on 91, going through a good solid second. And Mr. Wooten, I'll just have to check his name. It's followed by Sean Donnelly. Sean Donnelly's bike was misfiring in the last race. There we have the Flying Motor Guzzi of Vince Burrell from the Hawke's Bay, Burrell sign sponsor machine, and Nigel Lennox, Jaffa Racing, who was also doing another class as well in the Formula 3 class on a different bike. He's on a little wee 400, so that's not a bad showing for him in about 4th spot. Where's everyone else? Got no one out there.
Well, there we go. We can certainly see that the Lindsay Tate & Associates pre-89 post-classic, if you have a look at entries for this one, probably Manfield maybe squeaks an extra 4 riders. But I'll tell you what, come to Whanganui and you're talking about an impressionable lineup, and it'll look a fantastic grid, and I'm sure we're going to see a few more burst on the scene. Kev Gray makes a big trip down courtesy of Stamp City. We've got Dave Freeman back, Mr. Polka Dots, of course, on the High Torque Continental Tyre Spectro Oils machine. We've got Phil Clark coming out of Pepper Mower. We'll have Kane Louis from Hastings. What about Chris Lane? John Reid from Hutley on that TZ250. Wow, John Reid, the number 146. He'll be up there, and so will Steve Clark from Tauranga. Now, they're just some of the riders that are only doing Cemetery Circuit in our Lindsay Tate & Associates pre-89 post-classic. So it'll be a big full field up there. But I tell you what, by this ride here today, Spider Jay Lawrence looking pretty much the man at the moment.
Well, he does look like the man, but I'll tell you who the fastest on the track there is. That is Duncan Coots in second position on bike number 91. He's about a half a second quicker, and he's closed that gap over the last lap. Watch Jay Lawrence back this thing into the dipper, chucks it sideways, backs it in there. This possibly will be costing him time, and you can see Duncan Coots closing up on him. We'll see whether Jay Lawrence knows he's there. There's 2 ways. There's looking over his shoulder. He might have a pit board, I doubt it, or he can actually start to hear that mighty GSX-R 1100 Suzuki napping on his heels. But there's about 15 to 20 bike lengths at the moment. Definitely the fastest on the track is Duncan Coots, so Jay Lawrence will need to get a wriggle on. We've got an 8-lap race here, and we're 3 laps into it, so 5 laps to go. So in fact about 0.7. There it goes. Duncan Coots comes through and snaps him on the start-finish line, half a bike length. That was definitely a case of catching someone napping.
what's it, 30 seconds ago since I made my call, Spider, that I thought he was looking so good. What's all of a sudden happened in a race whereby that Jay was absolutely dominating? We know his quality. Was that a early race hiccup for Duncan, or did he not get the break? Down Middleman straight from lap number 1, there would have been 100 metres between him. Now all of a sudden the results are reversed.
Well, I don't know, maybe Joey Lawrence was thinking about the nearest pie shop, but I tell you what, he's now got him in his... He's a man who loves his pies, eats as pies as he can, and he's now got him in his sights. He got caught napping a bit there, I think, and he's closing up in there, going into the dipper there. Duncan Coots was fastest man on the track. There's probably 3 to 4 bike lengths in it, but Jay Lawrence, well, he don't want to have egg on his face. He'll be desperate, well, not desperate, he'll be very, very keen to get out there. We'll see them round the big Toyo corners. There's probably 25, 30 metres between them. No edge and speed by either bike. Jay needs to get a good drive onto the straight. That's where he needs to make the speed, because there's about 7 years difference in these machines, and the GSXR 1100 should be the GSX 1100. Long, long way down to third. Can't even see where
as well for the Lindsay Tate and Associates race. And in our pre-89s, we've got our race leader at the moment, Duncan Coots from Whangarei. I think he's got the GoPro camera mounted on the back fairing his bike. Don't know whether it's one that'll be looking forward or looking backwards. Those that look forward, you often see some coverage of that. You look for somebody like MotoGP hero and Valentino Rossi. If you've ever seen coverage, you're just watching how the doctor moves over his bike. It's absolutely poetry in motion. Some great shots. And you watch others where they've got a camera mounted on behind them. If there's a good race going on behind them, and you can see the dicing that goes. So no matter whether it's forward or mounted, it both looks to be the great shots at the moment. Probably better that it is a forward-facing camera, because although behind him is a very good Jay Lawrence, it'll also give us an idea of how good Duncan Coots is working out there at the moment. And look at that, Spider, he's extending that advantage. But it really is from the bottom of Toyo here and right up over the top of the mountain down into turn 1. That just seems to be such an advantage for Duncan Coots. Man, I tell you what, he can pull more than a third former at a girls' school. So that's how good he's racing. Definitely, and he's about 1.5 seconds quicker than Jay Lawrence. Jay Lawrence has slowed right down into the 11s, and in fact, he doesn't look to be on full form. The bike sounds to be running crisply and cleanly, but in that last lap it was a 1:10.4 as opposed to a 1:12.625 for Jay Lawrence, so that's 2.2 seconds quicker. So as long as Duncan Coots just keeps his hammer to the nail and keeps looking ahead and doing the last few laps. How many laps have we got? We've got 2 laps left. He's going to get the top shot on the podium, and yeah, he deserves it, although Jay Lawrence put up a good fight earlier on. Not too sure what's going on, but let's look out on the track. Great racing going on there between Nigel Lennox on the Jaffa Racing 400 and Vince Burrell. These guys have been having a race-long ding-dong. It's been anybody's game all the way through. They're coming over the brow of the hill there. There's probably about 8 or 9 bike lengths between them, but certainly there's a VFR 400, 4-cylinder V4, and a big mighty twin Moto Guzzi. You can hear that downshifting into the turn 1. He closes up on Nigel Lennox as they were going along to Garden Quarter. I think that had a bit of a better move. Yeah, the interesting feature there, in fact, is that Nigel Lennox on that little number 5's just overtaken the 203 of Brent Spirell on that Moto Guzzi. So good work. And remembering number 5 out there, that's good work. Down in your program is 124 Nigel Auckland on the High Rope Access Limited Jaffa Racing Kawasaki ZXR 400. So good work on that little bike for the number 5, place 5 and bike 5. Ahead of Vince Burrell, Terry Moran, Dave and unfortunately no Bob Grover going out on the Total Motorcycles KXR today. So Duncan Coots extending the advantage. Jay Lawrence ahead of Paul Wooten. White flag is out, and Jay Lawrence has slowed. He's over 3 seconds a lap slower than Duncan Coots, so definitely something wrong somewhere along the line here. Duncan not taking any away from Duncan Coots. He's had the fastest lap for most of the race. Jay Lawrence comes in there. He has stopped even backing it in there. He's just cruising home for a second place. Comfortable second place. There'd be the length of the centre straight there between first and second, and I can't even see third place, which we're expecting Paul Wilton. We're looking at Jay Lawrence going into the Metal Man corner. We still haven't even seen Paul Wooten on bike number 52 come out of the hairpin. I think there it is, right there and then. So that's how. So all Jay Lawrence does is keep his head,
The checkered flag's out. There it is for Duncan Coots, the man from Whangarei, and number 371 on the Sherson Auto Centre sponsored GSX 1100 coming through. He sort of limps home, but he's still at a reasonable speed, and we'll look out down the centre straight for Paul Wooten on the GSXR 1100 in Suzuki. Not showing his fine form here either is number 3. Number 3, Sean Donnelly from Paraparam. He's normally right up there with the mix, and of course missing from the mix as well is Eddie Kattenberg, who chose not to do this meeting. Jaffa Racing Man Nigel Lennox has got a good break now over and above Vince Burrell, and seems to be quite comfortable in his position. There goes Paul Wooten across for the 3rd place, and the dice is on for 4th, which is going to be Nigel Lennox followed by Vince Burrell, and then behind